Welcome to God Talks on this Sunday, October 17, 2021. Continuing our fall deep dive series this morning, our sermon is titled Our Ability of Ableness in the Gospel of Mark. Continuing the Gospel of Mark, chapter 10, as we were in last week, we're in this week with verses 35 through 45. This is what it has to tell us this morning. James and John, the sons of Zebedee, came forward to him, said to him, "Teacher, we want you to do for us whatever we ask of you." And he said to them, "What is it you want me to do for you?" And they said to him, "Grant us to sit one at your right hand and one at your left in your glory." But Jesus said to them, "You do not know what you are asking. Are you able to drink the cup that I drink, or to be baptized with baptism that I have been baptized with?" They replied, "We are able." Jesus said to them, "The cup that I drink, you will drink. With the baptism with which I am baptized, you will be baptized. But to sit at the right hand or at my left is not mine to grant, but it is for those for whom it has been prepared." And the 10 heard this, and they began to be angry with James and John. So Jesus called them and said to them, his disciples, "You know that among the Gentiles whom they recognize as their rulers, lord it over them, and their great ones are tyrants over them. But it is not among you. But whoever wishes to become great among you must be your servant, and whoever wishes to be the first among you must be slave of all. And the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve, to give his life a ransom for many." We are able. Wow. We are so certain, aren't we? Able to do it. We think we are capable of so much. We really do. And why? What is it about us that we locate our ableness in our own efforts, our independence? What is it about that we insist the autonomous assertions will absolutely secure our future? What is it about us that we determine any and all capabilities to our own works? While ability is a synonym for ableness, we want to make a slight distinction for the purpose of preaching and teaching and speaking this passage from Mark this morning in the Gospel of Mark chapter 10. The disciples make the same claim, certainty. We can, which is different, I think, than a confidence in perceived ability, ableness. A slight distinction here, but an important one nonetheless. But let's start with the call of this text to you. You get to the possibilities how to teach and preach and walk in a bit. But I wonder if this is the entry point, saying, "I am able, I can." Have you ever said that, admitted it? Does your leadership live by it? Are you a leader, speaker, pastor, teacher because you believe in it? A deep dive will come soon. But thus we have entered the land of not being able to say no, of not trusting our own gifts and acquiescing to the demands rather than standing up for what is essential and right in our ministries, in our lives. These places in the table around us. This is such an easy place to enter, to be a part of. And so easy to slip into. It is indeed. This may be a call to you, to all of us. How much you say, "I am able," when you're really not. Not because of your own faults, not because of your inabilities, not because of things like that, but because what is being asked of you is not who you are. But because your willingness to say yes betrays that which you have said you will not do. And so we were writing this, we were talking about this, we were walking through this in bits and pieces this morning. I want to be able. I think, for the most part, I can, but put up against awesome preachers and speakers and teachers and leaders, I am. I'm sure some come to mind in these sessions of thought and discernment. This at the heart is we are able, rather than an indictment to what extent we have to hear this, is what the disciples are capable of saying in that very moment. And we say we are able in that moment. And maybe that's all we can do. Maybe that's our only move. And what is wrong with that? Oh, nothing at all, folks. Nothing at all. Ableness is contextual. Ableness is reactionary. Ableness is response. Ableness is not that which determines your skills in life or ministry. Those things around you in your own ecosystem and scale for the rest of your life, for all times and places and spaces and those tables. I can as a response for the moment in time. And I am able. And why? Because there's an intersection. Assertion of my time, the world's time, God's time, which points to my ability, my ableness. Right there, right now, right here, right now. And I believe that. And so do you. That is the essence of what we're talking about, of our ministries, of our lives, of our plights, our visions, our direction, which is constant. A convergence of people and place and purpose and community. And you trust this, believe this, here and now. So now, we talk about this text. We walk through this text. We preach and we teach and we speak. Probably already figured it out. Our listeners, our audiences, our parishioners, you all need to hear that ableness comes from discipleship full of complexity and contextuality. They need to hear that ableness, when it comes to following Jesus, is not predetermined, a category, a byline, a line item, but that which embodies in and all of human particularity and distinction and difference, the ability to follow, perceived in that very moment. But they also need to hear that the vulnerability in that statement, and that their best intentions will not come to fruition, neither do ours. We try. Oh, we try. We try desperately. But when it comes to following Jesus, it seems that our failings seem all more acute. Why is that? We fail constantly. You saw the disciples, didn't you? Especially in Mark. And if we are truthful, we'll know this. We truly know this. We fail to work at parenting, at relationships, in situations, in divisions. They seem easier to admit our shortcomings than when it comes to living up to God's own expectations for us. So we need to stop it. Just stop it. Really? Why? So that we might claim anew. We are able, and we are. Why? Do you need me to answer that question? The Word, the Spirit, God's commitment to you, that relationship we spoke of last week, that abundance, that grace. All there. Really, truly believe it. Do you believe that? Do you feel me? Do you see it? Do you hear it? For here in this moment, if only to yourself, to you, wherever you may be, to admit when you are able and when you're not. If discipleship is always certain from the pulpit, from the table, from the microphone, there are different places and spaces and the platforms. When you hear these words, it's more than statements that are frozen and false in faith, rather than an invitation to the newness of belief. Herein lies the promise this morning, folks, the deep dive, the promise of this passage from Mark in Mark chapter 10, the ability of ableness, our ability of ableness, but if only for